What's up, guys? How you doing? Luke here, and welcome back to another episode of 5-Minute Reviews. For today's episode, we will be doing episode 5 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A lot has happened in this episode, so I'm not going to be able to say every little detail, but I'm going to do my best to talk about the main points. So, let's get started, shall we? Start the timer. So the story starts off right where I left off. Basically, with Walker running to some building, feeling a little bad about what he did with the Flag Smasher. He felt like he was slowly losing his mind, and he felt really lost after the death of his friend Lamar. After that, Bucky and Sam show up, knowing that Walker clearly lost his mind, and he's now trying to tell him, Walker, you gotta give us the shield, man. You're losing your mind. And then Walker's all like, oh, no, you're just jealous because I'm Captain America. You're not gonna get the shield, you're going down. And then they fought, and it was literally one of the coolest fight scenes that I've seen in the show. And I'm really glad that we finally got to see it in episode 5. Clearly, they ended up winning the fight. However, Falcon did lose his wings in the process, but they did manage to get the shield back. After the fight scene, everyone basically went their separate ways. Bucky went to go find Zemo, Sam went to go find Isaiah, and Walker, he got stripped away of his Captain America privileges. After that press conference, he's then introduced to a woman who apparently knew a lot of information that not everybody knew. For starters, that Walker took the super serum. When I saw that, I immediately thought that she was maybe the power broker. So we clearly might have gotten there after all. People tried to say that it was Sharon Carter who was the power broker. I didn't really entirely believe it, but this was my confirmation about it. Now over to Bucky's story. So it cuts to the memorial of Sokovia, where Zemo was there having his moment with his family. Then Bucky shows up trying to say, I gotta turn you in, man. And then while they were there, they had that conversation saying that Carly's a bad guy, man, you gotta kill her. And Bucky's all, yeah, we're not doing that. And then he turns Zemo into the Wakandans. After that, they basically now go back to Sam, who goes to find Isaiah. While Sam and Isaiah were talking, we got to see a little more about Isaiah's backstory and why he is the way he is. Basically, we get to see why he would never want to be Captain America. And it got a little political with the fact that because he's a black man, he would never want to be. But I gotta admit, it was a little hard for me to watch because you gotta remember, it was a different time frame where Isaiah came from. And the fact that he thinks that everything's the same as they are now, it's a little rough for me to watch. I don't really understand why Marvel decided to go this route. It's a little rough because they decided to try to take it as systemic racism. But you know what? They put it in there, it's in there, and I can't really say anything about it. That's just my take from it. Anyway, we go back to Sam, and he then goes back to his hometown to finish that boat that he was making. Yeah, remember that boat in episode 1 that we clearly forgot about? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, they went to go try to fix the boat, and Bucky showed up out of nowhere, out of the blue, trying to help out. He was mainly there as the delivery boy. He asked Wakandans to make something for him, and he was going to deliver the package to him, and then he was going to leave. But Bucky decided to stay because he liked his sister. Anyway, they all worked together on trying to make the boat, and that's kind of how most of the story goes around. It was kind of low-key, but it was pretty good. Fast forward a little bit and we see the Flag Smashers getting ready to do their final phase of their plan. But before we manage to figure out what they were going to do, we see Sam trying to train for his Captain America thing. We finally got to see that scene from the trailers where Bucky and Sam are throwing the shield together, and it was actually a pretty cool scene. And they were basically having a heart-to-heart talk. Bucky ended up talking about the reason why the shield meant so much to him is because the shield was kind of like the only reminder of family since, well, Steve is basically the only family he has left. Sam, he starts getting on the Bucky, saying, Buddy, I understand that, but you know what? If you actually want to finally be free of the Winter Soldier stuff, you just gotta, talk to the people that you're on for a while. Which is a reference to the first episode, the old man that he was going to tell that he killed his son, if you guys remember that. That's going to be an awkward situation, though, because you're going to... What is he going to say to him? You're basically going to be going like, hey, old man, remember that son that you lost a long time ago? It was me who killed him. After they had that conversation, they basically went their separate ways, and we don't really see Bucky for the rest of the episode. We now just see Sam just training for Captain America, having their cool training montage, Rocky style, and it was very, very cool. And then we finally cut back to the Flag Smashers going into their master plan, and we find them in New York City ready to do their thing. And in order to do that, they actually decided to get help from the main bad guy from the first episode. You remember those bad guys from the very first scene in episode 1 of Falcon the Winter Soldier? That flight scene? Well, turns out the main bad guy that was the leader of that group, he is going to be helping them try to take down the Falcon. I actually thought that was a really cool twist. I didn't see that coming, and very cool, very cool. The Flag Smashers then try to ambush a GRC border meeting, and that's where they basically kind of cut it off. We then cut back to Sam, who found out about the entire thing on the news. He then opens the suitcase for the Wakandans, which, by the way, why did it take you that long to open it? It doesn't show what's inside, but we clearly knew what it was. It was clearly going to be a new Falcon suit, or a Captain America suit, or maybe a combination of the two. I don't know. And that's basically the end of the episode. This is definitely my favorite episode yet. It was filled with a lot of action, it was filled with great dialogue, and every scene was just so enjoyable for me to watch. And it was just as funny as every other episode. So far, I really am going to be sad that the series is finally going to be coming to an end. But you know what? I really am looking forward to it so far, and I really cannot wait for episode 6 to finally be out. Anyways, that is all the time I have for you today. I really hope you have a great weekend, and thank you for joining me on 5 Minute Reviews.